you ready for the word? Turn to Genesis 1 and Job 38 and Enoch 18 if you have your book of Enoch with you. I didn't tell you to bring it, but Genesis 1 verse 6. And Elohim said, let there be a firmament in the midst of the waters. What's the Hebrew word for firmament? What does rakia mean? Solid structure, absolutely. So let it, the solid structure, divide the waters from the waters. And Elohim made the firmament and divided the waters which were under the firmament from the waters which were above the firmament, and it was so. And Elohim called the firmament heaven, and the evening and the morning were the second day. Now Job 38, beginning in verse 1 also. Then Yahweh answered Job out of the whirlwind and said, who is this that darkens counsel by words without knowledge? Gird up now your loins like a man, for I will demand of you, and answer thou me. Where were you when I laid the foundations of the earth? Declare if you have understanding. Who has laid the measures thereof, if you know, or who has stretched the line upon it? Whereupon are the foundations thereof fastened, or who laid the cornerstone thereof? And then, as I said, I'm going to also read out of Enoch chapter 18, because all three of these passages are declaring the same truths. Enoch chapter 18 verse 1. I saw the treasuries of all the winds. I saw how he had furnished with them the whole creation, and the firm foundations of the earth. Enoch says, I saw them, and he'll later say, no man has seen as I have seen. But he said, I saw them. Verse 2. And I saw the cornerstone of the earth. I saw the four winds which bear the earth and the firmament of the heaven. I saw the four winds which bear the firmament of the heaven. And I saw how the winds stretch out the vaults of heaven, and have their station between heaven and earth. These are the pillars of the heaven. And I saw the winds of heaven which turn and bring the circumference of the sun and all the stars to their setting. They move. This past week, YouTube's algorithms suggested a video for me to watch. The video that it suggested I watch was entitled, 3 Scientists School Flat Earthers on the Evidence. The three scientists were Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's an astrophysicist, Bill Nye. They use the word scientist kind of loosely there. He's a mechanical engineer and a children's television host. And a lady named Michelle Thaler. She's the Assistant Director for Science Communication at NASA's Goddard Space Flight Center up near D.C. Well, since it was there on my feed, and since I'm not opposed to being schooled, I took the time to watch the video. And I'm glad I did. And here we are this morning where you'll get to hear about it. Seeing that I have spent the last several weeks telling you what the Bible says about the earth, and seeing that I have purposely stayed away from what science says, and purposely I have also stayed away from those who have dedicated themselves to running experiments that prove that the science we're being taught is false, and seeing that I have watched this aforementioned video by 3 well-known, highly respected scientists in their field, and seeing that their purpose in their video was to school those who believe the earth is flat, and seeing that I have been seeking to get you to believe that the Bible teaches that the earth is flat, I now know that I cannot do as I had suggested last week, which was move on from this subject. I have to stay where we are. I believe it to be my duty to share with you the schooling that these three scientists presented in their video that they say proves that the earth is a sphere. I believe that you have a right to know the proofs they offer, seeing that they are respected in their fields. So I'm going to start with Michelle Thaler. Her proofs that school flat earthers, she starts by saying this: how do we prove the earth is round? It's hard for me to even start talking about because there are so many proofs that the earth is round. Well, all right. If there are so many, Ms. Thaler, please just share a couple of them with us. Proof one: ships disappear over the horizon. She has a degree from Harvard in astrophysics. She works for NASA. And the number one proof she offers to school us is ships disappear over the horizon. This NASA scientist with a Harvard degree schools flat earthers by saying we know the earth is round because ships disappear. Their disappearing can't possibly be because of the limit the human eye has on the distances it can see, nor by the fact that those limits are even further complicated by atmospheric conditions. That can't be the reason they disappear. The answer has to be that they disappear over the horizon because the earth is round. Proof two: she talks about how the shadows on the moon during an eclipse prove the earth is round. And to make this point, she uses as her resource, her expert reference, a man named Aristarchus. Aristarchus. Well, who is Aristarchus? Well, he was a Greek mathematician and astronomer who lived from 310 BC to 230 BC. That's who she quotes, and that's who she uses as a reference. Her source is a Greek mathematician, a Greek astronomer who created the first known heliocentric model 250 years before the birth of our Messiah. Her source to prove the earth is a sphere comes from a man who claimed 2,300 years ago that his math proves the earth is round. Now, I find it interesting that she doesn't prove the earth is a sphere by using NASA, for whom she works. Nor does she use the International Space, what do you call that thing? The ISS station. Thank you. She doesn't use that. Nor does she use some expert mathematician and astronomer from the 21st century. She uses as her proof a Greek mathematician from 250 BC. Now, she's not the only one who uses these ancient sources to prove the earth is a sphere either. Most scientists, when asked to prove the earth is a sphere, start quoting astronomers from 500 BC to 400 Common Era, they call it now. They go back that far to find a source to prove the earth is a sphere. Not astrophysicists from the 21st century, not NASA data from yesterday or last year. Their primary sources are astronomers and mathematicians from 500 BC. Do you find that suspicious at all? Here's what it says to me about them. When I hear them do such a thing as that, I hear them saying to me, we are scientists who are regurgitating information we were given at the university. We never question it, and you shouldn't either. That's what I hear them saying. This information was given to us at the university. A mathematician proved it in 500 BC, so it has to be so. We're not going to question that. It came from our professors. We're professing it to you. You should accept it too. Her final proof that the earth is a sphere is that all of the other planets are spheres, so the earth has to be a sphere too. If the planets are round, then the earth has to be round. My question would be, while she's schooling me, I would just ask this question: how does she know that? As there are pictures that prove it. Well, out of curiosity, I did a search looking for real pictures of Saturn. I found lots of images, but no pictures. Images, not photographs. Images that the creators of those images say are a mosaic of different images that were taken by a 1 megapixel camera on the Cassini spacecraft in 2016. You know what mosaic means? They take a lot of little fragments and you put them together to create an image. It's not the same as a panoramic camera. It just takes a lot of different images and puts them together and says, here's what you're looking at. The amazing thing about this image of Saturn is that this 1 megapixel camera that supposedly took these pictures was only 1.2 million miles away from Saturn when it took it.
That's good.
Another amazing thing is the pictures it took look almost identical to a picture taken in 1981. Now that's 43 years ago. A picture supposedly was taken in 1981 from the Voyager 2 spacecraft, and it was 13 million miles away when it took the picture.
Nice clear photo.
Say again?
It's a nice clear photo.
Nice clear photo. The photographic technology they had in 1981 must have been amazing. May we someday reach that technological advanced stage. I look for real pictures of Mars too. And though they have been presented to the public as photos, if you research it and read the fine print, you'll discover that the photos of Mars are not photos either. They're images that were created by a graphic artist named Anton Callaghan. It's not a real image, they quickly admit. I quote them. When you look it up, do the research on what they call Mars, you'll find in small print, this is not a real image. It's something they created. Okay? So I want us to let that sink in. The same people who tell us that we cannot possibly take a picture of the Chicago skyline across Lake Michigan because it's 60 miles away, the same people that tell us that we can't do that are telling us they had a 1 megapixel camera take a picture of a planet while the spacecraft was 1.2 million miles away from it. This schooling that Michelle is trying to give us sounds very suspicious to me. But I'll continue because you have a right to hear from these scientists who want to school us. Let's talk about the proofs offered by Bill Nye, and I must admit that he was my favorite. Here are the proofs that Bill Nye offered to school flat earthers. He said, are you ready? He said, if you stand on the east coast of North America, you cannot see Spain. That proves that the earth is a sphere. If you cannot see Spain from New York City, which is 3,500 miles away, if you cannot see Spain from New York City, the earth has to be round. And if that one bothers you, here's his second proof the earth is round. He said, you cannot see Vancouver, British Columbia from Boise, Idaho. I'm serious, that's what the man said. I'm just going to let that hang there. You cannot see Vancouver, British Columbia from Boise, Idaho. He says he knows that to be a fact because he's been to Vancouver and he couldn't see Boise. Y'all don't seem to be amused. Proof number 3. We have pictures from space that prove the earth is round. And those pictures are not fake. He says the paperwork to fake those pictures would be cost prohibitive. What's NASA's budget? Well, if you look it up, they said for 2023 their budget was a little over $25 billion. But if you look it up, it also says at this point in 2023 they have spent $30.9 billion. So let's just use that figure for a moment, $30.9 billion. That would be $84,647,534 a day to create paperwork to create fake pictures. $84 million a day. $30.9 billion, that's only $507,945,205 per week if you base it on a 6-day work week. Could you possibly create fake photos for $508 million a week? $30.9 billion. That's $2,575,000,000 a month. Could you possibly create fake documents if you had access to $2.5 billion a month? Bill Nye says the earth is a sphere because it is cost prohibitive to create the paper documents to fake the pictures they show us. I say he might want to take another look at their budget. Number 4. Here's his advice to flat earthers. He says, go learn about navigation. If you learn about navigation, you will learn that the higher you are off of the sea's surface, the farther you can see. That's all he said, but that's his 4th proof the earth is round. His last one, and this is my favorite. If you've been leaning toward what the Bible says on this subject, I need to caution you that this proof given by Bill Nye has the potential to shake your faith. So, do you think you're secure enough in your faith to hear this scientific proof that this scientist offers that the earth is a globe? I don't want to go on if you're not confident in your faith.
We're ready.
You're ready. All right. Here's his final proof the earth is a sphere. And I'm going to quote him. You're wearing clothes that came from another part of the world. They did not get here by magic. They got here by science. That's what the man said and just left it there. That proves the earth is round.
He's too smart for us to understand that.
3 scientists will school flat earthers on the evidence, and that's the evidence he gives us. Scientist number 3 was Neil degrasse Tyson. Neil actually didn't offer any proofs. Instead, the schooling he offered was to pretty much tell us that if we believe in flat earth, we're too stupid for him to talk to. If you doubt me, then go watch the video yourself. He said that he refuses to debate the subject because he has objective truth, and whoever he would be debating, if they're a flat earther, would not have objective truth. He's been invited by Joe Rogan to debate flat earthers for quite a while. He always refuses. Now we know why. He refuses to do it, not because there are men and women out there who can annihilate his theories and suppositions. He refuses to debate them, according to him, because he has objective truth. He's saying that the truth he has is not in the least way influenced by his opinions or his feelings. He has pure truth. Now, one has to wonder, if he truly possesses the truth that proves the earth is a sphere, if he truly possesses this objective truth, why does he refuse to share that information with us? He'll only share it with people who agree with him. He'll never share it with people who disagree with him, which seems odd because if it is objective, then shouldn't it be able to withstand questions and examinations? But yet he refuses. He went on to say that if you have a belief system, he really doesn't care. If you want to think the earth is flat, then go right ahead, he said. But then he cautions that people like us, people who believe that the earth is flat, and we believe it because it's based on our faith, he said, if we have the ability to influence others, we should be considered dangerous. Those are his words, not mine. Dangerous. In short, Neil offered no proofs to school us. Instead, he chose to school us by telling us that if we don't realize that he and other scientists are the source of truth and not Torah, then we're too stupid to have discussions with. Well, all I've done over the last few weeks is share with you what the Bible says. But I've also exhorted you to consider that NASA and scientists are lying to us. I have done that. I've presented to you what the Bible says, but I've asked you to consider that NASA and scientists are lying. Now, the reason I ask you to be willing to consider that they might be lying to us, is because I realize that once we begin to study this subject, I realized that we're left without an option. That is, we have to believe that somebody's lying to us. We either have to believe the scientists are lying to us, or we have to believe the Bible's lying to us. And now, after weeks of sharing with you that the Bible says the earth is fixed and has a firmament over it, and that the firmament is a Hebrew word that of necessity refers to a solid dome, I have now also, just to be fair, shared with you what 3 famous scientists have said that you might be schooled by their proofs that the earth is a sphere. So, I guess I'm saying it's now up to you. Choose who you'll believe. Moses or Bill Nye? Enoch or Michelle Thaler? Yahweh or Neil deGrasse Tyson? As for me and my house, I'm going to believe Moses, Enoch, and Yahweh. Now, next week, I'm going to share a far more serious message with you. What I want to do next week is look at some scriptures that I think flat earthers need to stop using to prove that the earth is fixed. There are some verses that I think that get stretched way out of proportion and shouldn't be used. The Bible clearly teaches us that the earth is fixed and has a dome over it. We don't have to go looking and trying to make verses say things that don't say to prove that point. You don't have to get beyond Genesis 1 to know the shape of the earth. That's plenty. But anyway, we'll deal with that next week. This week, I just wanted you to be schooled by 3 scientists and see how you handle that. I told Marie last night that this was going to be the shortest message I'd ever preached at this assembly in my life. Don't be mad at me about it. And don't get used to it. All right? Yahweh bless you and keep you. Yahweh make his face shine upon you and be gracious to you. Yahweh lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. As his name is put upon you, so shall he himself bless you.